Until the deadline on February 6th or this summer, NBA front offices have a chance to make a championship stand. Last year I predicted the Marc Gasol trade. Now in 2020, from least to most likely, these 5 major trades have a chance to turn your average contender into a top title favorite by filling the missing piece that's holding them back. First, a great take from Devin earns the Speak shoutout, who says Lowry's the best asset, noting how Kyle's leadership, talent, and playstyle makes it easy for other guys to take over. Appreciate all the great takes. After January 15th, the top 5 on the Speaks board get these rewards, so get your takes in on the question that's coming up. Number 5, DeMar DeRozan to Orlando. Already expressing interest in Debo, the Magic could very well be receiving the 4-time All-Star and All-NBA player's services very soon. I'm aware the Spurs are heating up as of late, but let's be real here. For 2020 at least, they don't have anything close to a contending team. DeRozan stated that he'd rather be traded to the Eastern Conference. San Antonio's youth in the backcourt with Derek White, DeJounte Murray, and Bryn Forbes could use DeMar's minutes to blossom their games. For Orlando, stuck with Vucevic's contract, the Magic have no choice to be in win-now mode. Vucevic they hang on to, but Aaron Gordon's the big-time lure for the Magic in getting the Spurs to give up one of this generation's top 10 shooting guards, DeMar DeRozan. With how efficient he shot this season, R.C. Buford could convince the Magic to throw in an unprotected pick and maybe another player. From San Antonio's perspective, it's a deal that would swiftly transition them into a rebuild and display their commitment to the future. Giving DeMar a fresh start in Orlando, especially with his trade value at its highest, is the way to go. In what would be his return to the Eastern Conference, DeMar could swiftly operate a Magic offense with 3-point shooters at every position. With a capable, deep supporting cast in the East, playing next to Terrence Ross like he did in Toronto, this all seems familiar. Along with flashy, potentially star youngins Mo Bamba and Jonathan Isaac, distance bomb makers Fournier, Vucevic, DJ Augustine, and the aforementioned T. Ross, DeRozan could make everything click for the underrated Magic. Orlando has the correct piece at every spot to have a legit playoff team, except for a star. DeMar's averaging 27 on 59% shooting from the field and over 50% from 3 in 4 2020 games so far. Because of that consistency, he deserves a relocation to the East, where he helped lead the Raptors to 5 straight playoff appearances and in 2016, 2 wins from the finals. The report from The Ringer's Kevin O'Connor was that it would be quote-unquote no surprise to any front office executives if the Spurs moved DeRozan in general, and even though the Magic rumors are almost 2 months old, Orlando stayed at their same middle-of-the-pack selves since that time, meaning there's a very good chance that they still expressed interest in DeMar and they're probably going to get more desperate. Aaron Gordon just got paid $80 million, but is the kind of talent that, if given a change of scenery, could take the all-star step. The two-way potential is real with Gordon. He joined DeJounte Murray, Derek White, and Lonnie Walker to make up the future-focused Spurs core of youth. Number 4, Kevin Love to Philadelphia. Regardless of an emotional outburst on Cavs GM Kobe Altman and the entire Cavs organization, what's clear is that the 5-time All-Star K-Love and NBA champion can't take the losing in Cleveland anymore. It'll be a nightmare attempting to move his $31 million per year contract next year. Organizations in or potentially about to be in a state of flux with their roster, teams like Portland and Phoenix, who Love may fit nicely with, I don't think will be willing to take on this pricey of a risk. That leaves the team that just took a stupidly pricey risk in signing Al Horford to just under plus $30 million cap hit for the next 4 years in free agency last summer. Given Cleveland's 3 to 4 years away from competing, taking on underperforming Al, who could both help your future talented big men and your tank job, wouldn't be such a bad swap for the Cavs. Meanwhile, Philly gets perimeter shot making they've been craving since Jimmy Buckets left, a perfect pick and pop option for your non-shooting point guard Simmons, and when winning, a great locker room presence. Whether they make the move or not, Elton Brand, the Sixers GM, is committing uncanny amounts of cash to an aging former All-Star. Love's a bit younger and way better, though. The Sixers might have to toss in a first or second rounder, but this could solve Brett Brown's spacing problems. No longer would Embiid be complaining about double teams if he could find the championship smooth stretch big that is Kevin Love. For Embiid's satisfaction alone, this is clearly the right move, even if it takes giving up several picks to Cleveland. Number 3, Karl-Anthony Towns to Golden State. Courtesy of GQ, we can see Karl's exact thoughts on his fit in the Warriors offense.
Purely hypothetical situation, which player would be a better fit for the Golden State Warriors? Rudy Gobert or Karl-Anthony Towns? It would be me. Not a knock on him, but just I feel like they're such one of the best three-point shooting teams to ever be assembled, and to put me on that team with my ability to shoot, I think that it's gonna be pretty hard to guard everybody.
Karl's speaking some serious facts, and the Warriors have been trying to find a big man like him for a long time. Cousins was injury-prone and had 9 seasons of wear and tear, but when you get Curry and Thompson back next year, Towns will be turning 25 years old in only his 6th career season, and it's nothing less than a terrifying vision for West contenders next season. Thinking about trying to stop the amount of space Minnesota's first option would have next to the Splash Brothers. D'Angelo Russell's an improving all-star at point guard, but just because of their generational backcourt looming on the injured reserve, it makes sense to deal him. The Bay receives their desired stretch big star. Minnesota gets an impressive young building block themselves, as deloading would have the opportunity to turn around the fortunes of the Wolves-suffering franchise. Far south of Minneapolis, he'll have to wait a year, but 2021 could be the furthest playoff run we've ever seen from Towns. And like I said, the Warriors have been searching for a big man to do what Karl can do next to their playmaking wizard Curry this entire decade. Finally, one of our league's best big men would get the benefit of having teammates that match and exceed his all-star status, and that's something that the Dubs front office should put everything out on the line to acquire. Number 2, Andre Drummond to Boston. I'm not underrating the solid perimeter defense of Daniel Tice or the beastly post-bucket getting of Canner. But Celtics fans, your team's going to have a tough time getting their first ring since '08 if they opt to not trade for some rim protection. Danny Ainge would be sending a message to Tatum and Brown that he trusts them on the perimeter if this move happens though, and a message to the collective locker room that the time to start winning titles is this season. Of course, Detroit would in return want one of either Brown, Tatum, or Marcus Smart for Drummond, but as we get closer to the deadline, given Drummond's expiring deal in 2020, the Pistons could be rightfully lured with a combination of Gordon Hayward plus Celtic current prospects and future picks. Despite Stevens' emotional attachment and his good fit in the offense, quite frankly, Boston's system has other needs. Even after trading Gordon, they'll still remain as the only NBA team to have 3 players averaging over 20 points per game. You look at how Gordon's contributing, and the Pistons giving up their looming free agent center seems like it'll become an increasingly likely scenario. With Blake Griffin having yet another knee surgery, Dwayne Casey's going to need some creation next to D Rose, or they're going to plummet in the standings. The Celts are young, but still have a chance at a title, which is tough to come by in the NBA. Sure, Andre said he wants to re-sign this summer with the Pistons, but Danny Ainge can tell you all about broken promises from incoming free agents. Who knows, maybe that'll help Ainge with his pitch to land the All-NBA center. Things can change fast in this league. There's only a few chances you get with 2 dynamic talents like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Hayward's come back from a devastating injury to live up to his contract and become a Celtic fan favorite, but Tatum and Brown can hold their own scoring the basketball, especially now that they have Kemba. It's time for Boston to fill their one glaring weakness in the middle. They can hold up their winning ways in the regular season, but facing up against the league's best slashers in the playoffs, they'll get exposed. With a full head of steam, opponents like Giannis, Simmons, Siakam, Butler, Adebayo, if you get to the finals, LeBron, Kawhi, among others, won't have a problem dunking all over Daniel Tice, which there's no shame in for Daniel, but could be the deciding factor losing you a series. Andre Drummond, meanwhile, makes those aforementioned attackers think twice about going to the net. Defensively, he's a game-changing presence. On the glass, you'd see wide-open looks from Walker, Tatum, and Brown from offensive rebounds. I think Danny Ainge should strongly consider this deal. And number 1, JJ Redick to the Lakers. In addition to the most likely move on this list, if JJ Redick landed it in LA, the way the Lakers could potentially make the deal happen would be the most savvy swindle from any potential trade in this video. It's the most likely deal to go down due to both the Pels being in full rebuild mode and the Lakers' seamless ability to match salary. Caldwell Pope and Quinn Cook would equal JJ's $13 million cap hit, and from there, the Pelicans would get several, potentially up to 4 if they negotiate, unprotected second-round picks. This makes sense for the Pelicans because David Griffin is all in on bringing New Orleans a championship roster in the next 3 to 5 years, realistically the next 5 to 10 years. Redick's significantly helping them win games right now, which is lowering their chance at a lottery pick. But what's been the trend in the NBA draft recently? Players who are picked just past, in some cases far past the lottery, taking over the league. If JJ's tradable contract they just signed him to can lead the Big Easy into 2 to 4 second-round picks that are unprotected, that's huge. David Griffin didn't get enough credit for building around LeBron to win Cleveland the 2016 title. He knows how to draft well, and the second-round picks are an underrated asset. For the current Lake show, though, it would mean adding a sniper who opposing West contenders like the Clippers, who they've lost twice to so far, couldn't leave open, meaning much more operating room for the most dominant pick-and-roll combination in basketball, LeBron and AD. Seeing the NBA's assist leader James glide through defenses, then throw either a bullet or perfectly placed floater pass to find the man directly ahead of him in all-time three-pointers made, JJ Redick, would be a sight to see for LA. But the question is, which trade, whether proposed in this video or not, are you most excited to see in the coming years? Subscribe if you enjoyed, and so you don't miss the intriguing topics coming up on this channel. This was D-Flow. Catch up on some of my recent uploads, and see you next video.